One thing I noted in this past week's discussion board about the present value of college, a spirited discussion, but sometimes we got a little bit off the beaten track with the time value of money thing. So I thought I would go ahead and demonstrate how people do that calculation. Now I'm going to use an example here which fits absolutely no one. This is just how the calculations are done. I noted several of you were asking, as you should, does the different degrees generate different cash flows? And somebody actually cited another study where they were saying liberal arts degrees didn't do so good. Okay, there are more studies of the value of college than you could shake a freaking stick at, and the only thing they share in common is none of them are accurate. That's because you're forecasting what the average college grad's going to do. Well, the average college grad with a biology degree that goes to the average medical school and gets to be a brain surgeon is going to do a heck of a lot better than the average biology degree person who doesn't go to medical school but instead goes to work at Walmart. So when we're looking at these averages, just understand that nobody really has good numbers on this. Here's my example of how people do the calculation, though. It's and the real misinformation is usually in the assumptions that go in. So I've got a high school graduate that's going to start earning $25,000 at 18 years of age and get average annual pay raises of 3%, which is slightly more than inflation, and is the last several years, last 10 or 15 years, we have not seen wages rise like that. But over the long run, they should raise slightly more than inflation, and inflation ought to run about 2%. The college grad goes to college and borrows $10,000 a year for the 4 years they're there on average, and then starts at $40,000 in a year, and then their job grows, their salary grows at 4% on average per year. Generally, study shows that the professional jobs grow at a higher rate than the non-professional jobs. We're assuming both of them are going to work to age 70. Is that realistic? When I was coming up, 65 was the number, and today more and more people work at age 70. So the answer is none of this really matches anybody, but again, I'm just illustrating how you do these types of studies. And when you come up with your numbers, yours might be radically different. So if we look at the high school graduate, 25, then going up 3% on average per year, like a metronome. The college graduate, 4 years of negative 10,000 in earnings, that's taken on debt. Then they start at 40, and the 40 grows at 4%. If I take the difference in these, that'd be the difference in the cash flows of being a college graduate from a high school graduate. All right, so this minus this would be the difference. So your first year, your difference would be negative 35,000. Not only did you not earn your 25,000 salary, you went 10,000 in debt. Okay, but then that reverses after we start going down here through. By the time you get down here to age 70, the college graduate is making $262 a year versus $116 for the high schooler. All right, so if I have all these differences, I can take the present value of them. And that's the module 6 is talking about taking the present value of uneven cash flows. I'm going to use a discount rate of 5% because it's a nice round number. NPV, interest rate of 5%, cover up all the numbers, and voila, about $400,000. If I use a higher interest rate, I'll get a much lower number. If I use a lower interest rate, I'll get a much higher number. Okay, so really the assumptions that go into these studies really make a huge difference in the results. And none of them are right, per se, because while the math is scientifically correct, it's the assumptions. You making assumptions over the average college graduate and the average high school graduate. A lot of average non-college graduates ended up richer than Croesus, Zuckerberg. All right, and there's other people that went to college and ended up on Skid Row. So when we're looking at averages, the average doesn't fit anybody. But the point of this whole video was that's how they do the calculation. Look at the difference between the college diploma and the high school diploma, and then take the present value using some discount rate.